Verna toward the outside is lingering down third as American Pearl moves up to her inside, but Cut to the Chase has a 5-length lead past the 16th pole. Cut to the Chase. Victor Espinoza to win it. American Pearl will be home second. Taverna was third. She's a Cherry finished fourth.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Alan Cutler. Honored and pleased to be with you. Thank you for joining us, whether it's live anywhere in the state or in many different states, or podcast tonight or podcast tomorrow morning as this thing is growing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. A bunch of stuff in that open there. OA, SEC preseason player of the year. And then I know all these people are saying it, and Jimmy will back me up. No, nobody knew that OA was going to be that good. I said right away, about a day or two afterwards, after OA said he was coming, I did a whole bunch of research, and I said, this is going to be the best player on the team last year. So I was right. So all you people saying no one said, did I just do a raspberry on the radio, Jimmy?
I didn't hear a raspberry.
Well, what is this? Isn't that a raspberry?
The microphone doesn't pick it up.
It doesn't?
No.
I hear it in my ear. That's very interesting. Anyway, I thought I did like my first raspberry of my career. Guess it didn't work. That's okay. So not surprised. No one's surprised that always the preseason pick, and hopefully he lives up to it, which would be a beautiful thing. And then Tomlin, interesting comment. In other words, the Steelers would never trade a quarterback within the division. They wouldn't do it. And in the old days, that was sacrilegious. You know, in baseball, can you imagine trading within your same division for decades and decades? And now things happen. It's a lot looser than it used to be. So he can't believe they wouldn't do it. The Steelers wouldn't do it. Trade to help the Bengals out. And they only got a 6th-round draft choice. Not that you can name much for Flacco because he's over 40 years old. I think he's 41, whatever. So he can't believe it. And you know what? It doesn't matter. If Burrow's not playing quarterback, I can't see the Bengals winning tonight. I'm surprised the Steelers are only favored by, last line I saw was 5.5. And Jimmy, how about that? The Steelers are going to be 5-1 after tonight. I can't imagine the Bengals winning. I just can't. And then cut to the chase. I had no idea. Many of you have purchased and read, and thank you. And you all on a much, much slower level. The book's been out a couple of years, but still buying Cut to the Chase. You can get on Amazon in town in Lexington and Joseph Beth. There's a horse called Cut to the Chase. Jimmy had no idea. So Michael Wong, Dr. John Wong's brother, and Michael is also a doctor and a great photographer, just a special, special photographer. And he sent me this thing, and I thought it was about Victor Espinoza finally back in the winner's circle. Victor Espinoza, as you know, one of the great jockeys of our time. He's a great jockey, and he don't ride glue factory horses. So I just thought Michael was sending me something where it just said, hey, Victor Espinoza is back in the winner's circle, and I didn't read the whole thing. So then I read it and went, wow, the horse is called Cut to the Chase. So, Jimmy, I'm trying to efforting either the owner or the trainer to try to see how and why they named him Cut to the Chase. It's 1,000,000 to 1 that they named it Cut to the Chase because of me and my book. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think that's a safe assessment.
Maybe I shouldn't do 1,000,000 to 1. Probably 500,000 to 1. I mean, there's no way. But it's cute and it's nice. And by the way, did you look at the video as you were dubbing it over? How impressively Cut to the Chase won? How
was it dominant win?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I did a race at Red Mile thousands of years ago, a media race, and they would give the owners, and these would be horses that obviously weren't very good in a media race. Red Mile will give them $100, which is a nice deal for a horse running. These were horses that they're just barely making it, that kind of stuff. And so I can't remember the owner's name. And he says, look, here's the deal. Just let the horse go. Have you ever been in the driver's seat for a harness race, Jimmy?
I have not.
It's exhilarating. It really is. And he said, look, all you have to do is don't fall off the horse. He said, just hold on, whatever, and the horse is going to take you around. It was the second time I'd done it. Okay. And he said, here's the deal. You're going to go right to the lead and let the horse go right to the lead. And now, obviously, the owner knows the horse. And he said, at the 3/4 pole, you're going to be way out in front. I'm going, okay. He said, then your horse is going to stop running. I said, what? It's going to stop running. Son of a gun. 3/4 pole, Jimmy, I am way ahead. I don't know how many lengths. The horse, it's like it wanted to take a siesta. I think I finished third. third or fourth or something like that. It was a lot of fun. And it's like, and then I'm yelling at the horse, yelling and screaming like crazy. And I'm going, what an idiot. Why am I doing this? The horse can't run. I mean, Jimmy, I was so far out in front. It seemed too easy. And then in the back of my mind he said it's going to stop at 3/4. Jimmy, exactly at that pole. Precisely. The horse stopped running. I'm glad the horse didn't go backwards.
If you were on a downward slope, you might have started creeping back.
Maybe, but it was, it was almost at the point where the horses go back to the barns and stuff like that. So I thought the horse maybe wanted to get something to eat. So anyway, there's a horse called Cut to the Chase. I got to tell you, as we set up the show, we're doing something a little differently today. I normally don't have guests in the monologue. Will tomorrow. We're cutting it short today, both days, at 12:15. Today it'll be Van Hiles. It was the only time I could squeeze him in, which he could fit in his schedule. And tomorrow, Ryan Howard, superstar player for the ladies at Kentucky, who's been a superstar in Atlanta, WNBA. She'll join us for about 15 minutes. But before we get into Van, I got to tell you what, the Herald Leader, I just call it straight. If I want to rip them, I'll rip them. If I want to compliment, I'll compliment. They are kicking butt this week. First you had John Hale, who I thought did a great job. And we talked about it, had John on the air yesterday. With the Stoops contract and Mitch and everything going on, he really laid out the entire career over 2 days. Well, Ben Roberts just kicked butt. He really did on NIL. And I got to tell you, and I'm sensitive to this only because it's my profession, there were a lot of things in there if you read it. And I'm telling you, everybody who follows Kentucky should read it. By the way, I'm not getting paid by the Herald Leader. I should this week, shouldn't I, Jimmy?
You have been endorsing them a lot. But like you said, it's for valid reasons.
Yeah, and you know what? If they did something I thought sucked, I would say it. And if I got a phone call, I got a phone call. I've got no phone calls from UK. None. Interesting. I am curious. I need to ask Lynn if he's gotten any, Lynn Martin, who I used as part of the tease today, if he's gotten any phone calls from UK. I predicted that he would, and I don't know. And I think he'll tell me. And by the way, to tease the show today, Lynn sent me something after midnight last night. And he said, did I send you this picture? Which he had a long time ago. I don't remember how long it's been. I'm going to ask Tubby to come back next week. But Tubby did our show, was it over a year ago? I think it was in the studio.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It was around a year, yeah.
Yeah, so whatever it was, Tubby was in the studio, and there's a picture with Tubby on one side, Lynn Martin, Mr. LM Communications, and then Jimmy, I don't know if you looked at it, Sean with this smirk, Sean Say, who's our op manager for LM and also the program director for 1300 AM in the background. So I used that. It just seemed apropos which was going on. Anyway, you need to read the story. I'll give you a highlight. He is saying that Kentucky is probably number one in NIL deals with $22 million for this year. $22 million. And this is the thing I've suggested before, and he puts it in his piece, like, it's going to change next year. It's going to change because what's happening now, players can get paid without going through the committee that decides, the CSS, if you can give the player that kind of money. In other words, Jimmy, let's say you're worth $20 million and you want to give your favorite player, let's say $150,000. You can't just do that anymore. At least wink, wink over legally, right? You have to say there's services rendered, and they judge whether service is rendered or not. And about 70% of the ones that, according to Ben Roberts, that have been judged by the CSS have approved it. So not every deal is going to be approved. And so I don't see how in the world these basketball players or football players can make the same amount of money next year. I don't. I don't see how. Because a lot of the money that happens, there are people that are giving money, and it just goes to the athlete. Well, now, guess what? I can't give you $150,000. Not that I have it. Not that you have it, Jimmy. I can't give you $150,000 to play basketball. You have to do rendered services. And you can't just do one car commercial to get it. It's not going to happen. And so here's the deal. There'll be fewer kids staying in college athletics versus this year, and some of those kids will now go to pro ball. Look, Pavia for Vandy, he's supposed to be making $2 million a year. He ain't making $2 million a year next year. You wouldn't think, right? So staying in college makes sense. And he's trying to play even next year for Vandy, where people are guessing it could be $4 million with the job he's doing for Vandy. So that's going to be a fascinating deal. It really is. I think the landscape of this, I have no idea where it's going, but I will be shocked beyond belief if some of these kids can make the money that they're making this year, next year, if they stay around. For example, Beck, right? For Miami, he supposedly, and I believe this is true, wouldn't swear by it, but he supposedly is making like $4 million plus or $4 million, whatever the heck it is in that ballpark for Miami. Jimmy, how the hell is Miami going to pay a quarterback $4 million next year? How are they going to do it? How are you going to do it? I don't see that many things that an athlete can do to make that kind of money. So this will be, I think, fascinating to see. I mean, seriously fascinating to see where this plays out. I don't think anybody knows. I think all these athletic directors are having meetings and all that kind of stuff. They're still trying to figure this stuff out, which is really the right way they should do it. It's the right way. Van Hiles at 12:15, Brandon Ramsey at 12:30, Chris Chenault at 1 o'clock. We have all kinds of sound to play that I really do want to get into. And we'll probably do that around 1:30, depending upon how the next conversations go. Want to tell you about my friends at Quantrill, the Quantrill Auto Group. I've been bragging on this because it's legit. My wife loves her XC60. It's a Volvo. It's a hybrid. I don't know about today, but until today, so far, she hasn't used a drop of gas. It's interesting. Not a drop of gas. And the thing is so smooth. It's absolutely unequivocally off the chart. And she loves her Volvo. Loves it, loves it, loves it. Third car we've gotten from the Quantrill Auto Group. I cannot believe, Jimmy, how smooth this car is. Smoothest car we've ever owned. And I guess I shouldn't say this every day. You think she's let me driven it yet since we've gotten it?
No.
No. And don't forget about the Outback, the Subaru, also a special car, 0% interest for 36 months, 0, 0, 0, 0. If you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. What a deal. What a deal. What a deal. 0 for 36 months, 1.9 for 72 months. Don't forget about the Quantrill family of dealerships. Driving from Danville, Cincinnati, Louisville. It's worth dealing with these folks because you feel good when you deal with them. Don't forget about the Quantrill family of dealerships. Right place to get your next Subaru. They promise to get you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks. Van Hiles coming up next. He's in the waiting room. Alan Cutler. What's the over and under we yell at each other? Jimmy, give me the odds.
I think it's 100% chance.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And you're going to say he's probably going to be right?
Well, we'll see.
Oh, that's very optimistic. Open-minded, too.
I'll leave that at 50-50.
No, that's a fair thing. Did you do a little kumbaya this morning? It's very good.
Yeah.
Nice smile today, Jimmy.
Thank you. It's the lighting. There's no clouds.
What it is?
Yeah, it's a sunny day downtown. It's coming in perfect.
Well, you were full of it today. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrill Auto Group. QuantrillForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no-filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313. Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrill Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quantrill family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
I'm Kathy Binkaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack my personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together. And the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Great selection of snacks is fully steady profit. Just rounding up the pack. Rounding a turn. And it's Mark's Profit Shop.
Get in the winner's circle with Clark's Pump and Shop. Stop by and pick up 5-hour energy shots, 2 for $4.99, or Rolade sticks. Buy one, get one free. Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google. Monday through Friday.
This was sent to me yesterday, and I want to do this before we bring Van in. Zia Combs, who was a really good football player at Henry Clay back in the day, and Greg Punkgorm, who was our great sports photographer, so lucky that he was our photographer for so many years, remembered shooting an interview with him at the TV station LAX18 the day he committed. Michigan was looking at somebody else, and this happens a ton, and they saw him play, and they offered him a scholarship. He goes to Michigan. He busts his butt, got paralyzed on a tackle in front of a stadium that had over 100,000 fans. And I don't know what happened, but he just passed. And so thoughts and prayers to Zia Combs and his family. And he was a kid that didn't have a really positive upbringing, yet he made something of himself. Horrendous news. Got paralyzed playing football. You're at Michigan. You're growing up, you're at Henry Clay. Who thinks you're going to end up going to Michigan? He didn't think so. And so thoughts and prayers to the family. Going to change my tone of voice if I can and say hello to Van Hiles. Hello, Van. How are you?
Yeah, that's deep. I second your statement. Condolences to his family.
He's just a kid. He was just a kid. And by the way, he overcame so much stuff. So just a kid.
As a guy who has had multiple concussions and to be able to play this game for as long as I have without having like that kind of injury, which could have easily happened to me, man, that my heart goes out to that family, man, because that's a tough one.
Plus what he overcame to get to the point where he was at Michigan. I guess I should have done this going into a commercial break and not bring you in on this. Sorry for my timing, Van. Seriously.
It was done for a reason. Hey, God makes no mistakes. He put on your heart at this moment for a reason. And I would say I don't know the kid. But it touched me just now. And I would definitely say a prayer for him and his family after this show, because that hits home big time.
Well, the reason why I led into you with this, because I know you'd have something smart to say.
Awesome. Appreciate that.
Okay. I'm sorry if this sounds cold and crass, but we're going to continue the show. So I don't have an idea if there's an ounce of truth to this. I'm telling you, I have no idea. Okay. It was on a message board. Gene Abel sent it to me, our buddy. I got on a Virginia Tech board that, hey, Stoops could be going to Virginia Tech. I got no clue. I literally have no clue at all. And so these rumors are going to get crazy. And the popular theory that's out there will be so many job openings. There's rumors that obviously Florida's firing Napier, and he'll coach Saturday and maybe fire him. Who the hell knows? It reminded me of Frank Kersey, who knew he was getting fired before the Tennessee game. You ever heard that story? Frank Kersey's last game?
No.
I ended up standing next to Tom Hammond. Hammond and Kersey were very, very close. Tom Hammond, the great broadcaster. They were dear friends. And I wasn't here very long, and I wasn't very smart. It was a cold day, end of the year. I'm wearing short sleeves, and I'll never forget Hammond going, "You think you're dressed warm enough?" I froze. So Fran Kersey wore the governor, John Wayne Brown's overcoat because they were close. And the Tennessee coach at the time was Johnny Majors. And they were friends, but, Kersey was fiery, and so was Johnny Majors. And they met before the game, and I'm going to leave out a word, but you'll figure it out, so will the audience. Kersey said, "We're going to kick your blank."
You did tell me about this story. Now that you said that part, I do remember now.
And Kentucky did a heck of a job and flying all over the place. I want to tell you what. I don't know what's the best hitting game I've ever seen at Commonwealth. It was Commonwealth then, but it had to be up there. Wow. Because there's a sound that you don't hear. I can't walk the sidelines anymore. UK won't allow it. Otherwise, I would still do it. But there's a sound that at times, it's almost like the sound of a baseball bat when somebody hits it. Sometimes there are certain plays where the sound is different. The sound that day, the Tennessee kids were just trying to destroy Kentucky. The Kentucky kids were trying to destroy Tennessee. So I don't know if the Florida thing is true or not. But anyway, we got about 7 minutes, so let's get right to it. What do you think of everything going on with Stoops and the contract and Mitch giving what seems like a vote of confidence for Stoops? What's your take on that?
As a business owner, as a former player, as someone who's still employed by your institution, what else do you expect them to say? He do has a vote of confidence as of this week. That means nothing for the next 7 weeks or whatever we have left. I don't understand the firings in the middle of the season. I have opinions on why, but there's nothing you gain from throwing your head coach under the bus in week 6 when we knew our record was going to be what it is. I mean, at the beginning of the season, I had us at 3-2 at this point. And I was being optimistic. So what else do you expect? Look, what else do you expect him to say? What else do you expect Stoops to say? As I've said before, this whole thing about coaches' words getting stale means nothing to the locker room. What it does is the coach's words get stale to the media and to the fans because you've had this coach for 12 years, and no matter what he says, you're either gonna pounce on the words and love it or you're gonna hate it. So this is a point where Stoops has kind of stayed so long where when we go through a certain point, he says the same thing because athletes and coaches are creatures of habit and consistent. And that's what's going on. There's nothing else that Mitch could say besides I'm standing behind my coach to this point, at this point right now.
Except I agree with you, but John Cohen, the AD at Auburn, former UK baseball coach, was much looser in what he said about Hugh Freeze. He basically said, I'm looking for the quote. I used it the other day. Basically said, at this point, I'm not, planning on doing anything. It was something along those lines. I'll try to find it to say, you know what? I'm not firing him today, but I'm not making any commitment. And this was no vote of confidence. I mean, none. I want to get on to something else because we got only about 4 or 5 minutes. Don't you believe that a major reason why the firings are happening, and I believe this in all my heart, because you're an AD, you might be using a firm, a coaching firm, right? You might go right to agents and you want to try to. There are coaches that have already been hired basically for jobs, whether we know it or not. And I think you do that because you want to get a jump on it. And here's one more. And I want to make myself quick because I want your answer. If you go after another coach while you have a coach and it leaks, the embarrassment is unbelievable. And do I think athletics directors at times are sneaky about that? Yes. Do I think they're scared? And I don't blame them for this. Scared that, okay, you have X as your coach, but I'm going to call around. One agent talks to another and it leaks out and you're embarrassed as you know what? I think ADs are doing this because they know they have to make a change. They know they've already decided. They already have the vote from the president to do it. And now they want to hire a coach. And then later on, it'll be announced that so-and-so is the coach. There are assistant coaches that I think already have head coaching jobs. There are head coaches at certain schools that I think already have jobs. A ton, couldn't tell you. I'm going to guess no. But I think some of these guys have already been gobbled up. I'll go one more. I think some guys have committed to a school have not signed a contract because you can't, and somebody else outbids them, and a certain school thinks they have so-and-so, and all of a sudden a better offer comes in, and they're not only going to pay them more money, but more NIL money, and you think you win more there. I think all this crap is going on behind the scenes. Now, do you think that's why they're doing it? Because no AD wants to get caught. It's bad enough that you look bad that you got to fire a coach. Now, if you don't fire the guy and you keep him on, and it leaks out that you're talking to someone, holy blank blank.
That I can see that angle. My angle is this because of what happened to Les Miles and got him another contract before Good Ogeron became the head coach. Is if you continue to win games, even though we don't want you here, we don't have the leverage to fire you if you keep winning. Here's my scenario I've put up. What if we lose these next 2 games, but we win the last 5 games? And Stoops gets to 7-5, or let's say we win 4, he gets to 6-6. It's harder to fire Stoops at 7-5 than it is to fire Stoops at 2-3. So there's some ADs who wants to find an excuse to fire a guy because now you want to bring in your guy. If you're a new AD or you didn't hire the guy, maybe it's your point to be able to find a guy that you want to lead your program. See, Mitch hires Stoops. So Mitch has a relationship with Stoops that he wants to give him every opportunity. There's some ADs who didn't hire the guy that's leading their program. So now if I have a chance to fire you, I'm going to fire you now so you can't gain the support of the boosters, fans, etc. if you end the year on a positive note like LSU did years back with Les Miles.
I think there's something to that, but I don't think it's the main thing. And I'm not saying it's the main thing because it's my thought, but you make a good point. Okay, we're thinking about firing this guy. Let's just do it now. Oh, they won 4 games in a row. Oh, my gosh. We shouldn't have done that. Now you have egg on your face. I absolutely think that could be in some cases, but I still think it's more about the ADs also trying to cover their blank, 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 blank if something leaks out. You know this. If something leaks out, then the president is going to say to the athletic director, do you know what the hell you're doing? This is so embarrassing. ADs are trying to cover their you-know-what, and I get it, but I think some of it's self-serving, and I wonder at times if it's best for the university.
Well, it's definitely, no matter what angle you take on it, the ADs are definitely trying to save their you-know-what because they don't want to be embarrassed. It's definitely the guy who is hiring the next guy does not want to put himself behind the 8 ball in a situation that's potentially avoidable because of something going on within his circle. Yes, it's definitely ADs for sure.
All right, here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
You're not going to be shy?
Never.
1, rapid fire. Odds of Kentucky beating Texas.
I got it at 30%.
2, how does Kentucky shock the world to beat Texas?
That defense have to stop Texas running game, which Texas doesn't have a running game, but that also includes Arch Manning, which I think Arch Manning might be their leading rusher. You cannot allow him to extend plays with his legs or get first downs with his legs like you did a few weeks ago with Lenore Sellers. You beat them on defense because their defense is a monster.
So, in your opinion, rapid fire, if Kentucky doesn't get turnovers, they don't have a prayer because Texas's defense is big time and Kentucky's offense sucks because they can't score 2 touchdowns a game.
Turnovers are hard. Turnovers are, you get turnovers in bunches. That is a football god deal. If you get them off the field and we can get field position battles, do we not have a kicker that supposedly can kick 50 plus 60-yard field goals? It could be a Georgia game a couple years ago. It could be a 12-10 game. We have to get points on the board. We have to control the clock. We got to find a way to run the ball and give Cutler a chance to get comfortable in this game. I don't think we have to score. If it gets into the 30s, we're in trouble.
The game gets in the 30s. Kentucky doesn't have a prayer.
That's what I'm saying. If we get into the 20, I'll say this. If it's 24 points, the first team at 21 wins.
Stoops here next year, and we keep on asking you every week.
At this point, I'm going to say yes.
Because
we have not, we're not 4-8 yet.
And that's fair. Actually, I think that's a fair comment. You don't believe he's going to be here, though, do you?
If I had to guess now, I would say no. With the current the current execution of the offense, I would say no. Because I just don't see them winning 6 games.
I like your fairness because if Kentucky beats Texas, Stoops can then say next Monday, I told you we were getting better. None of you listened to me. He can shove it back in people like myself's faces, unlike when he shoved it in my face when he didn't tell the truth, but that's neither here nor there. It wouldn't be the first time a coach did that. And I would have to say, okay, I'll take it. Fair. And you know what? I would like it to happen because I want Kentucky to win. I do. So if they beat Texas and on Monday his press conference, he says, you guys didn't give us enough time. You didn't believe in all that kind of stuff. I'm okay with that. I have no problem with it because it is what it is. But by the same token, too, they have stunk for a number of years now after winning 2 out of 3 years. So therefore, it's not like all of a sudden they won 10 games last year and you're saying, oh, my gosh, they're falling apart. No, it's a trend that they have to stop if they're able to.
If they beat Texas, they win 7 games. And this is the reason why. The only way they can beat Texas is if Cutler Bowley has a good game. That's the only way. I don't see no angle of beating Texas unless your quarterback can get you in position to score 20-plus points. If he does that against this defense, it's probably the best defense in the conference, they win 7 games.
Aren't you putting a little pressure on Cutler Bowley that's not fair?
Hey, isn't every quarterback has pressure on it? It's the most important position in football on every level except Little League. High school is the quarterback matters. If he does, and I'm not saying he's got to be great. He doesn't have to be Cam Ward level last year or Deshaun Watson when he was at Clemson playing college football. Not to that level. But if he can have a good game against this defense, he will not face a tougher defense the rest of the year. If he gets confidence against this defense, that offense has a chance, potential to be very good, and they will win 7 games.
We're saving this tape.
Hey, I said this weeks ago. I've said this, I don't know, on whatever show that if we beat South Carolina, I put it on record. We beat South Carolina, we beat Texas. Now, we didn't beat South Carolina. But if we beat Texas, I'm telling you, we win 7 games because that means the offense was really. We're not beating Texas 3-0. I'll tell you that. We're not beating Texas 10-9. I promise you that. That means this offense is scoring points on one of the toughest defenses in the country, and that will carry volumes for confidence for not only Cutler but for Bush Hamden too.
Bless you, brother. I appreciate it. And I like your open-mindedness because I'm kind of the same way. I don't think Stoops will be here next year. I think Mitch wants him next year for a couple of reasons. One is money, and one, he wants to see him turn it around. I think it's legitimate. I don't question that for a second. But I want to see what happens first. And there's a fairness issue there. There really is. Now, I don't think they're going to beat Texas, and I hope I'm wrong. There's nothing wrong with being wrong. My gosh. Bless you, brother. I'm glad your throat's better. And thanks for having me on your podcast last week. That was fun.
Well, hey, I'm going to be honest with you, Mr. Cutler. That wasn't my decision. It was my decision. You wouldn't have been on. I'm out.
You could have. You've never had me speechless. I mean, you talk about
Jimmy.
You talk about dropping the mic. Wow. If I had feelings, I'd be hurt right now.
Y'all have a good one. And again, condolences to that young kid at Michigan. And
local
I think
kid.
everybody needs to say a prayer for that family because I'm sure that's a hard one.
Last one. Give a plug for your podcast and everything you're doing, brother.
Oh, The Locker, Wednesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Even though you were lame and missed it last night, you can go to YouTube and watch the replay. I promise you, go watch the replay. It'll be a good listen in your car. We were not as bad with the words last night. We are not trying to clean it up, but we were better. And you can follow me on Twitter, vstyles17. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Anytime.
You're amazing. Van Hiles, did you think he got the last word in
Yeah, he did.
Did you see
As he always
that? Anybody watching on YouTube, could you feel the smile he had and the level that he was pushing it?
That was pure joy.
Yeah, it really was. I feel like I try to set him up, and he smacked it out of the park. Thank you, Van. You're great. You're always great. So is Elliott Services, and new sponsor. And as I mentioned, sort of interesting how I found him. Chuck Ely, friend, became a friend. I needed some work done at the house. We need an electrician. Friend recommended. He did a great job. We hung around and talked a little bit, and then we needed something else because of our new Volvo. We needed to upgrade our garage for the plug-in, and so I called Chuck. What I didn't know, he's bringing a group in from Elliott Services, his technicians, and they were great. Clean, honest, polite. Elliott Service, 100% employee-owned, licensed, background check, non-commission based technician, non-commissioned. And the success of their job is the success of the company. That is huge. Residential heating and air conditioning service include installation, maintenance, repairs, and replacement. Home generator services, including sales, installation, maintenance, repairs, and replacement. Home electrical handyman services, including anything you can think of. Call them. I trust them. Twice. Chuck is taking care of me. It's a pretty simple deal. 859-255-5788. And I'm like a lot of you. If I find somebody who does good work, you just stick with them. You just do. Had the same plumber for decades until he retired. I mean, really, you just do. And Elliott Services is that good. 859-255-5788. 859-255-5788. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrell Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quattro family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
I'm Kathy Binkaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together. And the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
Outside, great selection of snacks is fully steady while the drive-through service is rounding out the pack. You're rounding a turn. And it's Mark's Pumpkin Shop for those kids.
Get in the winner's circle with Clark's Pumpkin Shop. Stop by and pick up 5-hour energy shots, 2 for $4.99, or Rolade sticks. Buy one, get one free. Clark's Pumpkin Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
So it means we give God the most praise. That's really a short version of my name, Ortega.
Really nice comment by Ortega on how he got his name. Welcome back, Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. Ron Harper Jr., remember? Going into the year, his last year, top 5 pick or whatever, he just signed a 2-way contract with the Celtics. Man, how quickly you've fallen. Quickly. And I still think he's going to be a good NBA player. I really do. It's just going to take him a little while, and that's okay, and I could be wrong, but I doubt it. He's got so much talent. His dad was what a studly defensive player for those championship Bulls teams. It is just goofy how some of these guys just drop like crazy. Brandon Ramsey, kind enough to join us. Coach and basketball expert, Brandon, my friend, how the heck are you?
I'm doing well, Alan. Good to talk to you again, as always.
Just this, because of this happened, this drives me nuts. So I'm looking at Butler last year, and I've said this before. This is not new, but I want your opinion. The stupidity of the NBA, and I mean stupidity, like Deion Walker for Kentucky. He had 4 pass defense plus pass defense on a pass play. No, he had 4 tackles for losses, on Sunday. Who the hell gets 4 tackles for loss if you're a veteran, if you're a Hall of Famer? This is a rookie, and he had a pass defense. He's 330, and so he had a bad back last year. Okay, anybody who checked him out knew he had a bad back. You have all these freaking doctors, okay? You spent all this money as an NFL team, and you say, okay, if you think it's a serious problem, you don't want to touch the kid, or maybe you'll draft him in the 7th round if he's available. That obviously wasn't true. He falls to the 4th round. He should have been a late 1st-round pick. His back is fine. So all these teams are dumb. There aren't human beings that big at that size who can move like this. It's a steal for Buffalo. But Buffalo screwed up because they should have got him in the 1st round. They got lucky to Butler. If he has 2 shoulders, I'm not saying he's going to be a lotto pick. Let's not be goofy here. He's somewhere in the 2nd round. And probably late in the 2nd round because he's older, which is dumb how the NBA does it. He's not the fastest guy in the world. He's tougher than you-know-what, can make a big shot. He's a great leader. He's a great teammate with 1 shoulder. He just got signed the other day for Atlanta. And guess what? Was in on the winning play, made the assist. And I'm looking at him. What is wrong with these dumb NBA franchises? It's not like I say, oh, gee, Butler should have been a lotto pick. No, he should play in the NBA forever. And if you can look forward, and you find out his shoulder is okay versus, okay, this is going to be a bad problem, that kind of stuff. And if you believe that, as an NBA team, you keep your mouth shut, but you don't touch the kid. But if you think his shoulder's okay, then how the hell is he not drafted? What is wrong with these teams?
You couldn't have said it any better, Alan. I think that we talked about Butler throughout, last season, especially towards the end of it. You and I talking about him as a longtime NBA player, and I think that, not that preseason speaks, volumes of what you're going to be over the course of a decade in the NBA, but I think we did see right away, a little bit of confirmation of what you and I believe, that this guy was missed on by a bunch of NBA people because of some things like you said. He played the vast majority of last year, well below 100% in terms of health. Obviously had to miss some time, but even when he was in there, was severely limited of what he could do because of the brace that he was wearing on his shoulder, and then he steps in right away now as a healthy professional and makes such a big impact. And yeah, I think he's just gonna be one of those guys that continues every step of the way to kind of prove some people wrong. And whether that means the first time he gets some real minutes or the first time he gets to start a game or whatever it may be, I think he still has 3 or 4 different layers here over the course of the beginning of his career to continue surprising some people in a way until he gets some real minutes in the NBA, because I really think he's that type of player.
I haven't looked at the roster, but in the offseason, I said this, I really like what they did in the offseason. Really, really, really liked it. And again, I'm going to look at their roster tonight. The point is, I'm going to guess he starts in the G League, which is just fine. And there are injuries every year. And if he plays well in the G League, he's going to get a chance. I just look, and he did I don't know if you saw the clip. It was a perfect play. The ball is stolen. He pushes up court and he penetrates enough, just enough. It was the perfect penetration level, just so his shooter was wide open. He gave it, and the kid had to knock it down. Not a player I know knocked it down, but he did knock it down. Even if he missed it, I still like the play because he did the right thing. Right. And a coach knows, okay, let's say the kid doesn't make the shot, but he did everything right on the play. Well, what the hell do you want from a young player? And the pressure's on because he's trying to make the team. He just got signed the other day, and I'm looking at going, this is so good. What is wrong with these people? And by the way, it's not like he wasn't around scouts the whole year, okay? And look, nobody expected him to play like he did against Louisville all the time. You're not going to have a game where you're perfect. That was an aberration, one of the greatest games, maybe the greatest game he'll ever have. You mean to tell me he can't be the 3rd or 4th guard after playing more in the G League for a long time? Tough defense, great teammate, great young man. What is wrong with these NBA executives? Oh, I'm sorry. You got me on a tangent with this thing.
Yeah, it really is confounding. And I think with Butler, a lot of it was they over the course of a couple of years, they convinced themselves that he couldn't shoot, even though as a senior he showed that that wasn't necessarily true, and especially with a healthy shoulder, I think it's even less true than it maybe even was last season. And yeah, I mean, people don't like that he's 22, 23 years old and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, he's gonna keep knocking down doors. Like I said, there's he's a guy, in my opinion, is pretty easy to bet on just because of his character, because of his IQ. He's just one of those guys that's going to overachieve.
You said something that's powerful that really ticks me off. You're ticking me off today because if you're saying, and I believe you, and I bet you're right, they've already decided on this player, and a lot of these scouts are not open-minded to see that a kid has improved, which they do. You've seen it. A kid can't shoot. I'm not saying he couldn't shoot, but you've seen kids that couldn't shoot 3 years later. They're pretty good. Carl Anthony Towns, well, he was going first anyway. He couldn't shoot when he was here. Couldn't shoot a three. Cal wouldn't let him. I can visualize him shooting a three in December. Cal was ticked off, and he was nervous, and he missed it like crazy. Now, he was going to get picked that way, whether he could shoot or not. And it's amazing how he's improved because he practiced it. And so people improve. And this 22, 23 stuff, whatever the heck his age is, how many times have we seen? See, I thought he'd go to Miami, because Miami is great at taking guys that are overlooked, sticking them in the G League for a year or two. They usually give you 2 years if you're a good kid. And if you can't make it in 2 years, they go, forget it, we'll go get somebody else. It's a formula that they have. And I thought he was perfect for Miami with Spoelstra, who loves defense and loves high-character guys.
Yeah, that certainly would have been a good fit, but I think Atlanta will be the ones that benefit from it because he's gonna be a good player.
Okay. I didn't ask you to come on for this, but it just so we do this spontaneously. All right, so Kentucky is one of probably a dozen, I'm guessing, you tell me, that have a great shot of going deep this year. I think their deep teams this year are more than ever before. I think it's going to change next year when some of these guys are going to make less money, because you can't just give people money like you could this year. This whole NIL thing is going to change tremendously. It's a wonderful piece by Ben Roberts in Herald Leader you need to read. It's really, really good. And that's what I said. I wonder if it'd be close next year, this year. It's not going to be. So if a kid could make $4 million this year, the odds of him making $4 million next year ain't happening. It's not happening. It's just, I'm happy to say I'm wrong, at least legally. I'm happy to say I'm wrong, but there's no way with the rules, the way I've read it, a kid can make $4 million a year. The kid at Utah, DeBansta, am I pronouncing it right?
AJ DiBanza at BYU.
BYU, excuse me. Is he making $7 million a year? Is it $5 million a year? Whatever the heck it is, he's probably the highest paid person. Whatever that total is, he ain't making that next year if he comes out this year. Would you agree?
100%, yes.
So some of these kids who stayed for at least a portion in college might not do it next year because they're going to say, okay, I'll sit on the bench in the NBA and I'll start getting millions right away. Can't you see this whole trend flip-flopping tremendously?
It definitely is going to, like you said, especially on the legal side of things, because these deals just aren't going to get approved. And I think that honestly, you're seeing that to some extent on a national level right now with how few of whether you want to cut it off at the top 50 or the top 100, like if you look at the national rankings and on October 16th, there's typically a lot more guys committed than there are right now. Well, why is that? It's because a lot of these agents, these players, these families are looking at what their kind of comp last season got in NIL. Like, hey, I'm the 23rd best, ranked player in the country. That guy last year got $2.1 million to go to, Texas A&M or wherever. I'm just making up schools. And now they're offering me 1.1 million. What in the world's going on here? So we're seeing these people kind of wait because, or maybe wait's not even the right word, but it's continue to negotiate because they're frustrated that the money isn't there like it was before. But it's because it's simply just not going to get there outside of maybe, a Tyron Stokes or the one or two very top guys or some unique situations, whatever it may be. But yeah, kind of spot comparison to spot comparison, there's going to be honestly some pretty drastic differences, I think, in what some of these guys can bring in NIL, and it'll be interesting to see sort of who caves first, so to speak, as some of the dominoes start to fall and some of these recruits, finally start to make some decisions.
I agree with all that. I think there's also one of the reasons for waiting is, let's say X school offers you, let's say $1 million and you want more. Well, if you have a really good year, maybe Y School says it's 1.2 now. And so unless there's a particular reason, and there's nothing wrong with a bird in the hand, but unless there's a particular reason, I think kids are going to wait longer and longer and longer, and that's another reason why they're not committing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be some of that. And, schools always get anxious and get desperate sometimes in recruiting, and that one can turn into 1.2 or 1.3, like you said, whatever it is, because you really want to lock somebody down. So all of a sudden you start making calls, finding some extra money in the corners, whatever it may be. And yeah, we're kind of in a game of chicken, so to speak, between some of these schools and some of the recruits as to sort of who's gonna cave first and who's gonna be the one to quote unquote set the market. Because I think once the market gets set this year, then that's when you're going to finally see, some of the dominoes start to fall and some kids, kind of come to grips with the fact that, hey, the money's just going to be different, and we need to make our decision based on these new and current numbers, because those old ones just aren't going to be there.
Not going to be there at all. It's not going to be close. There'll be some parents that won't understand. It'll be explained by the agent. Some parents will say, let's get another agent because you can't get many money they got last year. Not understanding these deals now have to be approved. You just can't give a kid $500,000 like you could this year. You absolutely could this year. You just can't do it. Breaking news, and if I pronounce this young lady's name wrong, I apologize. I've never talked to her. We mentioned her. That's all. Dominika Perova, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. She will miss her second consecutive season at Kentucky with an ACL. Ooh, I don't even know this young lady, but my heart goes out to her. 2 years in a row you miss? Terrible, 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 terrible. So I think Kentucky, what Pope is doing, it's smart, but I'm assuming he's going to change for Purdue. So they're having, very often in practice, the best players go against the best players on purpose. And so my understanding, there really isn't an inkling now. I don't know what Pope is thinking in his head. I'm sure they've had conversations privately with the staff about, what the starting lineup might be, and it might change and that kind of stuff. But they're not displaying it on the court. So my understanding is, and I actually think it's really smart, because one, there's always injuries. Two, you got a lot of interchangeable parts. And three, this crap, which always drives me nuts. And this is not a shot at Kentucky. It's generally speaking. Unfortunately, a kid gets hurt. Now another kid who is playing 8 minutes a game gets elevated, or 14 minutes a game gets elevated. And now there's two injuries or something, or somebody gets in foul trouble and two kids are playing and have to play a lot. And you hear a coach say, well, they're not used to playing with each other. That crap drove me nuts. I don't want to hear that. You've been practicing for months. That's your fault as a coach. It's just your fault. You haven't prepared these kids properly. It's been a pet peeve of mine forever. What I'm seeing he's doing, at least from what we can tell, he's not doing that. I'm going to guess he will roll out what could be a starting five for the year against Purdue and then kind of go from there. But by not doing it now, these kids are used to getting used to playing with everybody, which I think is really, really smart. Do many coaches do this? Sometimes I want to be careful. I put Pope on a pedestal, but I'm not putting him in every Hall of Fame yet. My gosh, that's ridiculous. But I think he's extremely progressive. So in your opinion, Brandy, tons of coaches. Is this normal, or is this like the new wave of the future? As we'll put the best guard against the best guard, the best forward against the best forward, because they want us to go against the best. So it's tougher in practice, yet they're not used to playing with each other. So they get used to playing with everybody.
Right. Yeah. I don't think that it's something that a lot of places do. I think places that have some depth are certainly able to do that more than some schools that have these significant drop offs, because some coaches, if your second unit is significantly worse than your first unit, then you do want to mix things up a little bit more, because otherwise your starting point guard, your starting center, whatever it may be, just never gets that look in practice that you want them to have against higher level competition. But I think that the other side of it is what you talked about, of kind of trying to build that continuity, especially against within your first group, or the group that's going to play the most possessions over the course of the year. Some coaches really hold tight to that sort of thing and want them to play it together as much. But I think, especially with the way that Coach Pope substitutes, nobody's playing much over 30 minutes a game, especially on a team with, 11 or 12 deep of guys that are more than capable of playing in the games and helping you win. I think that this sort of a system and practice is perfect because you do have so many interchangeable parts. You have so many guys that can fill different positions and they can fill them well enough to be on the court. So having camaraderie across your entire 10, 11, 12 person rotation and everybody kind of being comfortable with each other, giving guys looks in practice against higher level competition as opposed to always going against the twos every day. I think it's brilliant. I think it's the way that probably more places should do it again, given the level of depth that Kentucky has. And I think you're going to see it pay benefits, especially, it would be awesome if we go through a season without any major injuries, but, that's just, not all that likely, unfortunately. So I think especially, anytime something like that rears its ugly head, having this sort of a preseason and practice setup where you're going against each other at a high level, you're experiencing different lineups and things like that. I think it's going to be really valuable, and I think we're all excited to see what it looks like against somebody else, and it's pretty fun that somebody else gets to be the number one preseason team in the country.
Are you suggesting? And it's great if you do, but I want to interpolate your words and make sure I'm correct and not putting words in your mouth. You're kind of calling Mark Pope a trendsetter.
I think so, and I think that he's someone who is not only smart enough, but I also think confident enough to set some trends like that, where he has a million ideas, I'm sure, every day, and he's cool to run with some of those. And I think this is certainly one of them. Again, with when you have the level of depth that he has, he's able to get creative with doing some different things in practice, and I think that he kind of has the perfect team to set a trend like this, where you're doing something a little bit different and not necessarily having your starting five wear the blue jerseys every day and your backups wear the white jerseys every day and your next group wear the gold jerseys every day or whatever it may be. You're able to really mix and match with some of that. So yeah, I think that he was put in a position to have this sort of this sort of a practice system, but credit to him and the staff for being willing to roll with it going into the season.
Anything else that you hear inside Kentucky's practices that you can share with your knowledge, Mr. Brandon Ramsey?
I think we continue to hear some really good things about Jalen Lowe. I said it on my show on Monday. I think if there's something I'm willing to stick my neck out about this season, it's that his three-point shooting numbers are going to be not just vastly improved from what it was last season, but like legitimately good. Like I think that Jalen Lowe could make 40 to 50 threes this year, and I think he could do it at 35%. Like he's too good of a free throw shooter. The shot looks too smooth. And then, the more I go back and watch some of these Pittsburgh games from last year, like all of the attention was on him. Like he's going to get more open shots this year. And when he doesn't have open shots, he's not going to have to shoot them. Last year, he had to take bad, high degree of difficulty shots. He's not going to have to do that this year. It's going to allow him to assist just as much, if not more, because he's surrounded by better talent. But you're going to see his three-point percentage and his efficiency really, really go up this year. So I continue to be really excited about Jalen Lowe coming out of practice. And I think it is the rate at which Jaden Quainitz is recovering is something else. And maybe we shouldn't be super shocked because the dude is 18 years old and a freak athlete. So if there was ever going to be somebody to break records, as Coach Pope alludes to, when it comes to an injury rehab, it would probably be the 18-year-old freak athlete. But I do think that we're in a position where we could potentially see him sooner rather than later, and I think that he's on board with that, which is exciting too. And if you have Jalen Lowe living up to the expectations that I think that he will, and then you get more games and more minutes early on from Jaden Quainitz than maybe you would have thought, then man, I think you're in a position for this team to be pretty special.
You have an idea how early that might be that JQ would be playing for Kentucky?
I don't still, but I think that a couple of months ago I would have said I'll be happy if he plays January 1st. I think that now I would probably at least put what I'm hoping for as a little bit earlier in December than later in December. That's a complete kind of conjecture on my part, but I from seeing him a little bit to reading the tea leaves of the way they're talking about it, I just can't foresee this going on into 2026. I would be willing to, to bet some pretty serious money that we're going to see him in 25.
Last one. If I asked you this last time, I don't remember, so help me out here. Cody Fugger, the assistant coach, used a word that I think is more apropos for the season, and I've been saying this in an interview. I don't remember who it was with, but he said, we're going to come at you in waves. And so I'm not saying this is platoon. Pope's going to do his thing. He's not copying Cal or anything like that. That's not a shot against Cal, whatever. Everybody's got their own style of doing something. But I can see many times 2 and 3 guys are going to be substituted even more frequently than last year because they're going to run more and they're going to come at you in waves. And I see much more fast breaks, and I see more pressing defense. And I don't think he's doing it to keep everybody happy, but I do think he's doing it because he tries to wear people down, and that will placate some kids who are going to get 14 minutes a game, because the 14 minutes a game might feel like 22 in some cases. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I think you said it right. I don't think it's going to be some situation where you're playing guys because you feel like you have to, or because you want to get them 8 to 10 minutes a game so that they stick around for next year, whatever it is. It's going to be because it's what benefits the team, because you're able, like Coach Figure said, to come at you in waves, or you're able to, really go at 100% for these 3, 4, 5 minute stretches and know you have your buddy who's 95% as good as you are coming in, right off your tail for that next wave of pressure. And I think that, yes, you're going to see this team play faster. It's why I think they can end up making just as many threes as they did last year, not because you have the elite shooters necessarily, but I think just the pace of play, the possessions are going to be high enough that you'll see the volume get there. I do think that you'll see them press a little bit more. It still might only be 5% of defensive possessions or something like that, but really across college basketball, that's a pretty high number. I just think that the ability to have legitimately 11, 12 guys that are good enough to play in the games, and not just any of the games, but playing the highest level games and help you win them. I think that's such a luxury. And it's one of the things, especially early on, when you play Louisville, when you play Michigan State, when you play North Carolina, Indiana, all these teams in non-conference, I'm going to be really interesting to kind of break down the rotation and see how he utilizes so many players, because it can be tricky too if you're always looking down the bench and feeling like you need to get some of these guys in. I think that's going to be probably the biggest storyline going into this year, is how he handles the roster, how he handles the rotation, because there are so many guys.
I'll bet you a cup of coffee that they make more threes this year than last year.
It wouldn't shock me, that's for sure. I mean, like I said, they don't necessarily have the Kobe Bryant. They probably don't even have the Jackson Robinson.
You're not a wishy-washy guy. Take the bet or not. Cup of coffee. Come on, dude.
Well, to be honest, I won't take the bet, because I think I think they'll do it.
Okay,
I'm with you.
Okay. I had to snap at you for something. I really think they're going to surprise people that way. That's me. Hey, Brandon, 1, you're great. 2, thank you for allowing me to snap at you with a smile on my face. 3, give a plug for everything you're doing. I'm telling you, if you're on Twitter, folks, and you don't follow him, shame on you. Simple.
Thank you, Alan. We're really ramping things up here heading into the season. So I have a couple of new videos out on the Brandon Ramsey College Basketball Show YouTube channel. A really good breakdown of Otega Oweh. Some more preseason thoughts on the Kentucky basketball team. So go subscribe there. The Brandon Ramsey College Basketball Show. All the written work is on KentuckySportsRadio.com. We'll have scouting reports of every team we play this season, including the exhibitions. So that's right around the corner. And again, you can follow all that on Twitter at BRamseyKSR.
Fun. I can't even hustle a cup of coffee from you. Hey, dude, you're great. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your knowledge. I hope more and more folks all the time understand how smart you are with basketball. Appreciate it. And by the way, whatever you've done with the microphone, the little windscreen you put on, it's really good. The quality of your sound today has never been better. I wish I could say it to me. But, hey, thanks, brother. I appreciate the hell out of you.
Thank you, Alan.
Have a great day. Brandon Ramsey, he's great. Jimmy, it's really good stuff, and he didn't fall for my bait, did he?
No, he didn't.
You're not surprised, are you?
No.
You see the smile on his face when I was turning on him?
Oh, yeah.
By the way, if this was the first time Brandon was on, would I have done it? No, because we didn't know each other, but he's been on countless times. He just was laughing at me. I bet our next guest ends up laughing at me. Chris Chenault, the great Christian Alt. Oh, boy, we're going to have some fun. Chris, coming up next. Don't forget about my friends at Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914, 859-533-0914. Now also providing a licensed massage therapist, acupuncture. He's helped me tremendously, and I'm getting to the point, not every time, but most of the time, I'm basically falling asleep while getting acupuncture, and it was not true early on at all. It was uncomfortable, whatever, but it's helping me tremendously. I believe in it. I wish I understood it more. All I know, it works. It works. It works. It works. Use my name on for Sales Road, Blue Lotus Health. Ramon Carriega is a special dude. 859-533-0914. From basketball back to football, Chris Chenault, the Hall of Famer, coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
Outside, great selection of snacks is fully steady while the drive-through service is rounding up the pack. They're rounding a turn. And it's Clark's Pump and Shop.
Get in the winner's circle with Clark's Pump and Shop. Stop by and pick up Sour Patch or Swedish Fish peg bags, 2 for $6, or Jack Link's Jerky, 3 1/4-ounce bags, 2 for $11. Clark's Pump and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrell Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quantrell family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
I'm Kathy Bingaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together. And the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
223 CV Lexington. ESPN Sports Radio 1392.5. WLXG Lexington and LM Communications Broadcasting Station. The only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
I mean, every single day we're out here getting better. Guys are coming to work and doing what they can out here at practice, and everybody's devoted to the playbook right now. And really knowing that I think we're taking big strides offensively for sure.
Strides. Cutter Boley says that the chemistry between the wideouts and Cutter is getting better, ladies and gentlemen, with his UK shirt on, because he's true blue all the way. In the UK Athletics Hall of Fame, Studley linebacker, a little bit after Herbert Hoover when he was president. It can't be that nice, Chris. I mean, come on, act like your agent half the time. I got to give a little shot in.
Half the pictures they have of me are in black and white, and I think in 1986 we had colored photos. I don't know what happened. I'm gonna have to send some over
there. Chris Chenault, kind enough to join us. So, can you see any honest, logical scenario? I mean, we both want Kentucky to upset Texas, but do you see any way that this can happen? Now, we just had Van Hals on about a half hour ago, and he said that Cutter has to play really well. He's got to play really well. And I said, he putting pressure on the quarterback. He said, come on, it's quarterback play. It's just the way it is. Too much. You got to put pressure on the quarterback. If he doesn't play well, they have no shot. Texas's defense is is first class all the way. Kentucky can't score 2 offensive touchdowns since after you played. That's not fair. That's an egregious mistake. But it's been a long time since they've scored 2 offensive touchdowns. That's a fairer way to put it. I was being sarcastic.
Yes.
Any way you can see Kentucky pulling off this upset? Any way at all, Christian?
I think it depends on the crowd has to be there. Quarterback has to play excellent play. I like to see the receivers get more separation, but if Cutler's hitting them and they can catch the ball, pitch and catch, I think we'll be fine in the first half. Second half is what's going to tell the difference. I look for a competitive first half, and then in the third quarter, depending on the game adjustments made by the coaches, that third quarter, the first 6 minutes to decide how the game's going to go. It's going to be like Georgia, we phase out, or they're going to have enough momentum and the crowd's going to be behind them to where we can maybe take it to the fourth quarter and see what happens.
Now, Van said it was about a 30% chance. Your percentage, if you have one, of Kentucky beating Texas Saturday would be?
Puncher's chance.
Okay. I have a picture on my wall. Before your time, there was a British boxer named Henry Cooper.
I know him.
Really? I'm not surprised. And he was.
I love boxing.
You would have been a very good boxer, by the way.
Yeah, but somebody hit me in my ear, been off. I've been kicking, biting, and everything. Maybe MMA, but nah, UFC. I couldn't do boxing. There's too many rules for that. And I say early UFC, not how they got it now. I'm grabbing that fence. I'm sorry. Toes will be interlocked.
Interlocked? The stuff with Stoops, I don't know if you saw the Lexington Herald Leader. They did a really good job. John Hale did a great job of laying out the relationship between Mitch and the contracts and Stoops and what is going on. Mitch said he was proud of the contract extension he gave the last time to Stoops. That stupefies me. That's just me. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I don't know if he's backing up the truck to defend himself. And I guess you can't say, well, I made a mistake with that contract. I should have waited a little bit longer, that kind of stuff.
He's CYA. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
CYA.
We agree 100%.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this part isn't fair, but that's life and social media. I have zero idea if there's an ounce of truth. And you're saying, why am I saying it? Well, if I thought it was true, I would say it. But it's out there, and I think this is sports talk. So you talk about things that you have no idea if they're factual or not. And if I know something, I say I know something. It's a pretty simple deal.
Right.
It's on a Virginia Tech. Matter of fact, Gene Abel, our friend who does the show all the time, like you do, sent it to me on a Virginia Tech board. I have no idea how legitimate it is. Says Stoops, it could be going to Virginia Tech. Now, as a player, I want you to answer me 2 ways as you're smiling. As a player, look, people I sometimes don't get the fact that these kids are smart. They see stuff on social media. They know what's happening. You would know if you were playing. You would know. In social media times, you would just know. And to say, oh, we're hiding it from the players. We tell them not to use their phones and stuff. What a bunch of nonsense. Neither here nor there. You're a player. And if you saw it and you know about all the negativity going on, would that affect you playing the game Saturday? Or wait a second, you're about to hit somebody. Somebody's about to hit you. You're not going to think about it then. But does it affect your mental prowess and your mental ability to get prepared for a game with all this stuff that's going on?
No, because usually when you go at football, it's such a brutal sport. If you ain't got your mind on it, you're gonna get hurt. You might read that and look at it. And we had this stuff going on when I was with Claiborne and stuff like that. Once you get on that grass field and you lock in, to me it's tunnel vision. I don't really look at it. And after the game, where we sitting there discussing the game between everything, then what do you think he's gonna do? Yeah, I go by people's action. He snuck out of tonight trying to go to Texas A&M. I doubt if Virginia Tech would want him, but he's not going to take that because I think he's got a great salary here, and he'd be a fool to walk away from it if they're not going to force him out or buy him out.
Does it change your attitude towards the coach when you see it, or are you saying no?
No. I know it's a business, and he's looking at it, and they go back, what have you done for me lately? He's in a tough situation. I know he's a good coach. He's hit a spur. I don't think he adjusted well to the NIL and the recruiting scheme like that, because at first I thought we had a chance to beat anybody. Every year I was getting excited. And lately, it's just like they're playing catch up, and I'm hoping this catch up is going to be 1 or 2 years because I like to travel and I got to have my football stuff on.
So if you don't think Kentucky can win, you ain't traveling to Tennessee next year.
No, I talk too much stuff, man. They'll eat me alive.
You're a big man, though. Who's going to mess with you?
You'd be surprised. Everybody's got that Napoleon complex.
Plus, if somebody's drinking too many suds, there are some smaller people who get gutsy and don't realize, or don't think that you happen to be a big man and
agile.
And might have said, do you think he might have played football? Boom, I'll show you.
Yeah. Well, the main thing is most people when they get in that, because I'm a red mouse security and stuff, they get in that state of mind, they think they're having fun and stuff like that, but they don't realize this is my life. I live it. I go over my mind what anything could happen and what my reaction would be. So no matter what they do, I'm prepared for it. So I go in there relaxed. Not big practice makes perfect.
Now, even though, and this could be tough to judge, but I thought Cutler played much better last game, and I'm curious if you think the same. Even though I thought he played better, if he plays on the same level, is that an improvement because Texas's D is that good? How do you judge? Every week is different. It's a new chapter, all that kind of stuff. But how do you judge as a former player how, let's say, Cutler is doing? Because Texas's D so far this year should be, without a doubt, the best defense that Kentucky has faced this season.
The main thing is if they've been doing their homework, pitch catch, and I don't care how good their defense is, the thing is going to be they can separate to get the ball. And then the impact might jar the ball loose because of the athletes they have. But I think we've got that shot to where if we can't overpower them, we have to play to our best ability to get to what we do most. Run the ball, hit our tight ends. But then you got to switch it up because they watch film just like everybody else. But I don't think they're geared up like if they were playing Georgia or Alabama. So we have a shot of going there and throwing the first punch. If we can throw that first punch and get them backpedaling a little bit, I would love to see how we do in that third quarter. It's going to be a night game, too, so it should be rocking.
I would hope so. And the first thing I'll look at when I get to the press box will be just across from the press box, how many students are there. So yeah. I'm kind of thinking if it's a 1 o'clock game, for example, with a team not doing well, I think no students will be there. Now, because it's a 7 o'clock at night game, I can see students having a good time, a little partying, that kind of stuff. Let's go to the game. And if it's bad at the half, boom, you're going to see a mass exodus. But I could see, I don't know this, but I could see a whole bunch of students showing up as a party. We're going as a party. And then all of a sudden, as Kentucky's playing well, they want to stay.
Yeah, and that's usually how it goes. I mean, students are, I mean, you're in college, you go to the game, you pregame, if you know what I mean. And if they end it against Texas, they'll stay. But in the third quarter, once they're down by 2 touchdowns, you see that mass exodus. But that's what kids are. You see your diehard fans sticking by. And like me, I like to watch the whole game as long as I can. They're giving the effort that I think we as fans deserve. And most of them do. I like the way our defense is playing, but I'm wanting that quarterback. This is his game to prove that he's on that next level. And I think he's ready. I mean, what else do you have to look forward to? This is your chance. Home field, 7 o'clock at night, and you're going against Texas. God, I wish I was playing against them. I never played against Texas.
These kids can totally change the narrative for the season. It's in their court. They can absolutely change it. And if Stoops wants to say next week, Kentucky pulls it off, I told you, because he said this Monday, I told you we're getting better. You can throw the numbers at me, but I'm with these kids every day, and they're getting better and stuff like that. And if they win, and I want them to win, he could say next Monday, you guys didn't have enough patience with us. I told you we're getting better, and they're getting better. If that happens, he says that, I'll take it. I got no problem with it. But I wouldn't be saying what I've said this year if they were coming off a 10-win season.
Well, the thing about it is the catch-22. Stoops actually spoiled him. He's hitting him with these surprising 10-win seasons, and now suddenly that drop-off, it wasn't gradual. It was like bloop. It's just like a running back in the NFL. 1 year you rush for 2,000, next year you rushing for 300, and you're sitting in the stands. It's a thin line, and I think he will have them ready. I hope he takes all this negative thing that he thinks coming his way, and all it is constructive criticism. If you can't take criticism, what are you in this world for? You chose the
Do you think
profession.
a coach is going to look at this as constructive criticism, even though I have to agree with you? Do you think the coach is going to take it that way? What?
They've been telling me that every year I play. This is constructive criticism, Chanel. Do not take it personally. Yeah, you just told me the best part of me ran down my mama's leg. No, don't say coaches aren't like that. They're conniving. They just like us. They're forming players. They know what we go through, and they know what we expect out of them. But then you got your some coaches who are just, they're hardliners. But I think he still has his pulse with the team, but does the team has his pulse? Because right now they want to believe in him, but you got to bring in the people where you can look around and say, I can win with these people. Do they have that?
I don't know. I don't know. Now, Ty Bryan, who I respect a lot, and Cisco's great. I think Cisco's doing the show tomorrow. Ty Bryan said that Brad White basically said, relax, go have fun. Yes. And I said it might have been their best week of practice all year. And I guess I could say, why didn't I have the best week of practice the first week and better the second week and whatever? And that's a fair comment if I say it, but I'm going to kind of step back for a second because you should have nothing's perfect. You're not going to have, 14 weeks of great practices or 11 weeks of great practices or 9 weeks of great, but they should be more consistent. So with him saying that Brad White has said, which I think is smart by Brad White, hey, get the joy back, go have fun, go play football, fly around. If the kids listen to it, and I do think Brad White does have his kids listen to him. He's put too many kids that were not highly thought of out of high school in the NFL.
Right.
Like Drew Phillips, Georgia didn't want him. Alabama didn't want him. None of those schools wanted him. Well, he had to play. Was it last week or the week before? A hell of a play for the New York Giants. He's playing.
Yeah, I watch him every time. I played with his dad, Carlos. He's a way better athlete than his dad was. Yeah, I said it, Carlos. Got a great son. I don't know where he got it from. Must be his mom's talent.
I remember Carlos.
Yeah.
Do you text Carlos and say, hey, your son's much better than you? He'll probably say thank you.
We're in a group text. He knows how we feel. I mean, one thing about our guys, especially our generation, we support everybody. I don't have boys, but any guy that has a son or whatever, I'm there 100%. I went down to London County to speak to some fourth graders, and man, I felt like a king once again, signing autographs. They don't know who I was. I played 40 years ago. But the good thing about it, you have Google, and they can look you up. And I felt very humbled, and I was very proud.
Good for you. I can see you being really good in front of the kids. You should go out and be asked to speak in front of a lot of football teams. I'm telling you, I know there's a bunch of high school coaches that are listening, and you ought to say, would Chris Chenault come talk to my team?
Yes, he would.
Yeah.
For a T-shirt and a beef brisket sandwich. That's what I got last time.
Hey, good for you.
Yeah, from Buc-ee's.
That's okay. Hey, the last one I did, it's been a number of years, was at Bourbon County. And they said, we don't have any money. And I go, I'm not asking for money to come talk to your team. I said, there's one thing I want. It got really quiet on the phone. I said, I want a T-shirt. Oh, we can handle that.
That's how it is. Because the thing about it, you're giving back. And it's also an extra brownie point to get into heaven. And my thing is, my problem is sometimes when I'm talking to fourth graders and sixth graders, I forget about the age because I'm looking at players. I'm seeing future young men right there. And I always try to get them with the softness and hit them with the one thing. I said, look, the world don't owe you nothing. It will give you nothing. You have to take what you want out of life. The life you perceive you want, you have to go out and get it because it owes you nothing. Remember that. You have to work hard for it. It doesn't come on a silver platter. In the world, if you can't navigate it by using your common sense, and common sense is not common. So get with your older brothers and sisters and your fathers and listen to them because the mistakes you're going to make, they've already made them. Just listen. That's all you got to do. You're not hearing me now, but just listen. And that's how I ended. And they just staring at me like, okay. Parents are clapping. Kids are like, okay, let's go play ball.
Yeah, let's go play.
But as long as it sinks in with one person.
Yeah, I would say if you one or two kids, it sinks in. And if the coach reminds them some other time, that's powerful. One of the great quotes of my lifetime, you know what it is? Common sense is king.
Who said that?
Me. It's in my book.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's 3 quotes in the start of my book, Cut to the Chase. One of them is mine.
Okay.
One of them is from a gentleman named Bernard Baruch, who is advisors to presidents from Woodrow Wilson
through
JFK. And one of them was from Bear Bryant, and one of them is for me. So Bear Bryant, much more important to me, he says, every year we have 2 or 3 superstars. The rest of them aren't, but we don't tell them.
True.
Like that? And
Yeah, I do.
I got that as a kid. Sporting News, before you were born, this really is probably before you were born. I read that I had a subscription to Sporting News, and I would turn immediately on page 2. They would have the 3 quotes of the week. It'd be the first thing I would read all the time, unless there was something about Mickey Mantle. That's how old this thing is. And so that was in Sporting News. I cut it out, and I don't know how old I was, 7, 8, 9 years old, and it just stayed with me all those years.
Most one-liners do. They follow you. You live by it. And I think the one that I got most from as far as one-liners and little quotes was Jake Bell and Henry Clay. When he hit me one time with "Ain't no I in team," because I wanted just to play defense instead of running back because they was kicking my butt. I said, man, can I just concentrate on defense? I would be a wrecking machine. Or let me play tight end. But I was playing running back, but we didn't have no line and stuff. And he hit me with so many one-liners, and I was like, he's right. I was being selfish. And the thing about it, when he says no I in team, and then years later, I could never think of something to reply back to him, and it haunted me. And then I saw Shaq say, when he was talking to Kobe Bryant, and he put team in there, and in between the A, when you got it, that's an I right between that. He used some language to describe that, but I think it's on YouTube. That's an I in team. It's right in that I and what's your name is. So yeah, but that's the thing. You got to be humble. And the thing about it is, your time will come, clap for others. I learned that as young age. Don't be jealous of other people. They make you better. And if you hang around with somebody that's better, basketball, football, academics, whatever, you're going to get better. You hang around with thugs and losers, guess what? It ain't too bright. It's common sense.
It's the company you keep. You want my favorite quote of all time?
Talk to me.
I started saying from Bernard Baruch, history doesn't repeat itself, but men make the same mistakes.
Yes, sir. And that's also one. History is also spelled his story. History is always written by the victor. So look at the breakdown of the word, his story. History. It's always his story, the one who wants it.
I'm sorry for stepping into Chris. There's a lot of stories in the history books that are just BS.
Oh, I know. And that's the thing about it, debunking them.
Slant.
That's what I spend my whole time is just reading. I won't never get on Facebook and debate nobody, but if you want to sit around and have a couple beers and sit around a fireplace, I love that stuff. And that's what I live for. That's why I go to the barbershop sometimes. But then you got to find I don't want to sound conceited or anything. You got to find people who are not ignorant or arrogant and on your level as far as what you see in the world. Because if you get somebody that's not understanding what you're seeing, it's useless. You're just speaking to somebody that's not going to change their mind. But they have their right.
Duke should have you talk to the team. Have you ever been asked to talk to the Kentucky football team?
No. I went to Henry Clay's football team, London, Madison, Middle. I think that's about it.
Okay. Well, hopefully from people listening from the sound of your voice, you get more invitations. By the way, you mentioned Jake Bell was a great coach and a great guy and longtime referee and principal and whatever. He's just a great dude.
Yes, we have a mutual respect. When we see each other, we don't speak much. We give the handshake. It's just that eye contact. He knows what I feel about everything, and I know what he feels about. It's just when I see him, I know he looks at me and says, "You did good," and I'm like, "That's all I want."
Yeah, you can read people's eyes. Henry Clay had an undefeated state championship team.
Oh yes, that was oh man, that whole year was like coming out of junior high. That whole school was like. That year was unbelievable. You could have probably filmed it and been a great movie like the Bad News Bears. We had characters on there. We had one guy, this is cruel and Petter, please do not come after me, but this was 30, 40 years ago. We was about ready to go down to play the championship game. He caught a chipmunk and bit his head off and went, let's go play. And spit the chipmunk's head out. And I'm sitting there looking at him. I think, who was it? Ozzie Newsome did the bat. Took the bat's head off on stage or something. That's where they got it from. But that was the word mindset. And I think the number one song was Number One Bites the Dust, Queen. We rock Queen all the time. We are the champions and stuff. Yeah, that was the whole thing, that Queen album.
Okay.
Great songs.
I've never heard this story. I believe you. Let's stop for a second. You're telling me
Chip Boone
in Henry Clay's undefeated season before the championship game, you had a teammate who literally bit the head off a chipmunk to get you guys pumped up?
Yeah, in the parking lot before we got on the bus. Chip Boone, God rest his soul. But yeah. And I'm sitting there as a ninth grader and say, these people are crazy. But I ate it up. I mean, we rocked the varsity got to go on Greyhounds. We was on the school bus. I was on the varsity, but I wanted to ride with my fellas because I didn't know the varsity people. That's my first year there. I want to go back with the fellas where I had a little bit of respect. Up there, to make you sit in the back and shut up, you know. Couldn't get no leeway with then because I hadn't proven myself. I was in special teams then in second string. But that was the best time. I wish I cherished it more now. Now I got bills and looking out for your kids and you're worrying about them. Back then I had it made and didn't know it.
I think that's true of a lot of people.
Yeah, you got to cherish those moments. Basically, you got to stop and what they say, smell the roses. You literally do. Because I'm 60 now and it went like that. It went quick.
I'm going to be 73 in a few days. Time
and think about it, it does. And I remember being 15, sitting at the wall, and saying, I can't wait till I get older, get out of this house. You know, because my parents, they wasn't strict, but they were strict. Yeah. And when the lights came on, if you didn't beat that lamp outside, that you got that whooping, that was my style. And it worked. I spoiled my kids too much.
I bet you did.
I did.
You know, you're just a little old softy. Okay. You don't think Kentucky's going to win, but you hope they win it. Do I read you?
I want a good effort, a little bit better than Georgia's third quarter and fourth quarter. First half, I liked them. I think we'll come out and they'll be motivated. And I look for a close game until the fourth quarter. If we're close, we're going to battle it out. If it's, 2 touchdowns and a field goal, I think you see the stands empty. I'm staying for this because I ain't got nothing to do.
You're basically saying that if Kentucky can keep it close, they're going to get worn down.
Yeah. The thing is, it comes the fourth quarter, and I know they got better second team or third team people as far as what I can see when I watch Texas play on TV. I look at our guys, and our first team, I love them. My second team, I don't really know their names, but they're getting improving. The only way you get better is to play, but is this the right game? Most coaches will want to go with their starters all the game, and then fatigue plays a factor. That's what my case was. You can want your best players in there. He's going to want to be in there, too. But give the second team a guy a chance because he's going to step up. And if he doesn't, you can go back to what's your name. But it's coming down. It's a game of inches and milliseconds. You get tired in the fourth quarter. I don't care who you are. Endurance is, you have to work on it.
Well, that's one. The second thing I've always said is if you play your backup 15, 18 snaps, when there's an injury, because injuries happen all the time, now if it's 5 games in, that kid has played 75, 80 snaps. He's basically played almost 2 full games. And so then when you're sticking that kid in because you have to, it's not, oh my gosh, I've never played before. Boom, touchdown, DB, that kind of stuff. So you have some experience on top of trying to make sure that your best players can run as hard as they can in the fourth quarter. It's not a lack of conditioning. It has everything to do with there's only so much juice in the lemon.
Yes. And the thing about it is, the coaches, they want to win too, so they're going to be reluctant to put that second guy in there, but they're ready to play. I remember when I was going second team, it lasted maybe 1 game, but you're so ready to prove yourself, and the coaches got to give you a chance, but you can't change your game plan because you got second teamers in there. You got to keep that game plan, and they've got to step up to that level.
You're only second team for 1 game?
Mm-hmm. I didn't start the season my freshman year, and then in the second game I was starting, and I didn't look back.
Wow. Chris, as always, I appreciate you, brother. And again, you're putting your hand on your heart that before the state championship game, when Henry Clay was undefeated, won the state championship, you were a 9th grader, that Chip Brown?
Boone.
B-O-O-N-E?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Chip Boone literally bit the head off a chipmunk while the chipmunk was live?
Yes. Then stapled it back to his safari hat so the tail was still there. I think coach saw it, or somebody saw it and made him take it off. Yeah, I was geeked.
Everybody was fired up.
Oh, please. Oh, yes.
Did that help you win the game?
We crushed them, but I thought it was a rat at first.
Is there a difference, for crying out loud?
I would prefer the rat. Chipmunks are cute. I keep them around here sometimes till they get in your car. Woo! Peppermint gets them away too. If you having a problem with chipmunks, throw a peppermint powder down there, and they'll get rid of them.
Chip Boone, not Chip Rupp.
No, not Rupp. I don't think Chip ever even played flag football. He's got them Ron Mack calves, so Reggie Hansen calves. They just didn't have it. They was basketball.
I like that Reggie Hansen calves.
Oh yeah, I talked to Reggie the other day. He's got a little thing where he was playing putt golf. Stay retired, brother.
Is he playing putt? You know what? He's on my list to talk to him next week. He's done the show many times in the basketball season. So
yeah,
I'll expect a full basketball report the week.
Hey, I'm on it. I'm gonna have my comments ready.
Okay.
All right.
When you say that, I know you will.
I will.
Bless you, brother. Have a great weekend. That was a great story. You're the best.
All right, I take it. Be nice, America.
Say that again. Hang on a second. Okay, I stepped on you. I want to put this in the open if it flows. Talk about, you've done this every time you've come on for, I don't know about every show, but for quite a long time, about people getting along and stuff. Give me your line.
Be nice, America. To agree to disagree on certain subjects. The thing about it, we all in this together. We don't live a bland life. It's a rainbow of different type of cultures. Can you imagine how life would be if it was one way?
I shouldn't have put you on the spot. I needed about for one sentence to stick in the open. Give me your.
Okay, I got you. Ready?
And by the way, folks, if you're just listening the first time, Chris does this all the time. I'm putting him on the spot on purpose.
America, be nice to each other.
Oh, I stepped on you. Do it again. I'm shutting up in 3, 2, 1.
Okay. America, be nice to each other. One love.
That will be in the open tomorrow. And we're going to keep it in there for quite a long time. Bless you, Chris. That was great because we got to learn how to disagree with each other.
It's fun. It's fun to debate somebody, even if you don't win, just to get under somebody's skin. I like pushing buttons. Some people call it stirring the pot. As long as it doesn't get physical, ain't nothing wrong with good debate. I'll go ahead and have a beer with you next topic. I don't keep debating it. I hear your side. You agree to disagree and keep moving.
Bless you, Chris. Have a great weekend.
All right.
Talk to you. Jimmy, I put him on the spot, but that last one was great. Yes?
Very good.
At 1:38, do I need to send you a note?
Yeah, just in case.
Okay, just in case. Wait a second. Hey, you and I are going to have trouble if your memory becomes like mine. I rely upon you. I trust you. You're great at what you do. But if I'm happy to send you a note, but I can't believe you said that. I will send you a note. In the old days, you wouldn't have done that. But now you realize it's coming close to 3 years you've put up with me.
Yeah, what is it, 2 weeks-ish? 2 weeks from Friday would be Halloween.
Was it Halloween?
I believe it was. I think it was actually Halloween the first day.
How do I not remember it that way?
It was October 30th. Was that the date?
It was October 30th. It was October 30th. You're looking it up from 3 years ago.
October 30th was a Sunday in 2022.
It was
maybe the 28th.
We started on a Monday.
31st then. So yeah, it would have been, that was Halloween. October 31st.
October 31st?
Yep.
Wow. Time flies. And time flies with Terry Page, who's helped me tremendously for years and years before I started doing this show. Go to Natural Healing and Pain Relief. Natural Healing and Pain Relief. She has spots for a free phone call. Tell her your needs, what you want. I'm telling you, she's a spectacular licensed massage therapist, a healer. That's what she's been for me. A number of you, many of you have gone to see her because I talk about her on the Alan Cutler show, whoever that is, Alan Cutler. Anyway, check her out in Butler, Kentucky, the first 2 days of the week, in Lexington, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Terry Page, 859-373-0578, 859-373-0578. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment. Hit the text line 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313. Hi, this is Alan Cutler. The Quantrill Auto Group has a great deal for this month. Subaru. The Outback is special, so check this out. 0%. That's right, 0% interest for 36 months. And if you want to spread it out to 72 months, 1.9%. What a deal. 0% interest for 36 months. Don't forget, the Quantrill family of dealerships is the right place to get your next Subaru, and they promise you the best in sales, service, and no gimmicks.
Houchins Insurance Group is proud to partner with Auto Owners Insurance, a company that provides opportunity for independent agents to make insurance simple for their clients, offering risk management services that range from a renter's policy for your college student to home and auto coverage for your entire family. Houchins Insurance Group assures you that nobody works harder to keep you protected from life's uncertainties. Reach out to AJ Boss or Zach Bennett at 859-263-2771 to see if Auto Owners Insurance makes sense for you.
I'm Kathy Bingaman. Over the holiday, there was an attempted fraud attack. My personal banker, Mary Rose, and I networked together. And the first thing that I thought of was I have to text her. And it was just within the next few minutes, there was an entire team that came together collectively. And that's just not the type of service that you typically get from your bank.
That's Kathy's story. Now let's get to work on yours. Republic Bank. Time to thrive. Member FDIC.
What are you doing? You getting ready for Halloween? Well, it looks like your costume's ready, but what about your candy?
Well, you know, Dad and Uncle Rick, at Clark's Pepper Shop, we have some spooky deals. All month long, you can pick up 5-hour energy shots, 2 for $4.99. Roll-Aid sticks, buy one, get one free.
No tricks, all treats this October. Clark's Pepper Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
It's interesting how this goes because right now you go for these, whether it's 2 of those or long practices, and you can't get a single rep, especially for those 2, right? So they're taking full advantage of it. We just scrimmaged in our most recent scrimmage. Brandon Garrison, I've talked about this a little bit, but he was the fastest guy up and down the floor every single position. It was unbelievable what he's doing. So he's actually taking more advantage of every single opportunity rep right now because he's got himself in such great shape. Malachi is making an incredible impact right now. He's in the 80s field goal percentage in line play 5-on-5 for us right now. He's unbelievable on the glass. His ability to rim protect outside of his area. He was one of those guys that does things on the floor and you kind of shake your head and be like, I didn't actually know that's the guy I recruited a year ago. He's been such an impactful freshman for us so far in training camp. And those 2 get it. They love each other right now because they are pushing each other so hard. And it's a fist fight every day, and they're both getting better because of it. It's pretty fun to watch.
So with JQ out, that's Mark Pope, SEC Media Days, talking how Brandon Garrison and Malachi Marino taking advantage of the time that they have on the court because they have more time on the court because JQ is not there. I don't think Chip Rupp will mind me saying this. He sent me a thing when Christian Alt was talking about biting the head off, not him. Chip Boone of the Chipmunk, he sent me a funny thing and said, hey, make sure you get the right chip. I'm not biting the head off any rodents. Then he said about Christian Alt, love that guy. That was a magical time at Henry Clay. They won the state in 1982, and we won it in 1983. Great time to be a Blue Devil, and I bet the school spirit was unbelievable. Man, Henry Clay was loaded. They were just loaded like crazy with athletes. That was an amazing time. Best time perhaps in the history of Henry Clay, or in the good old days. They also won a bunch of state championships way before I came to Lexington. And I can tell you this, when it comes to picking someone properly, Elliott Services, check them out. I've used them. They've been great. 100% employee owned with licensed, background checked, and non-commission based technicians Employee owned the company. Think about that. The success of their job is their success in the company. Residential heating and air conditioning services, including installation, maintenance, repairs, replacements, home generators, HVAC systems, electrical, handyman, EV charger installation, which we needed, and maintenance if you need, heating and air, preventative maintenance programs through multi-point inspections, more. Through Chuck Ely, who's become a friend. We needed help in the house a few years ago. Somebody recommended it. I used them. So we needed to upgrade our garage for a plug-in hybrid, the Volvo that we have from Quattro that we love. And they came over. His two guys who came over were polite and nice and clean, and they did the job, and they were great. I couldn't recommend them higher. Elliott Services. Check them out. 859-255-5788. Jimmy, that chipmunk story, you're not going to forget that, are you?
No, of all the stories that Christian Alda's told, that is one that I will remember that forever.
Should we make a change and make that the story of the day?
I mean, that it was definitely the story of the day, yeah.
You think that's the clip of the day? Best clip so far?
I don't know. The one that with Van talking about how Kentucky can beat Texas, I like that one.
Okay, so we're going to stick with that as we push it out on all social media, but I will send you the in and out, and we will replay that story on Monday, the biting the head off the chipmunk before the state championship game. While the chipmunk was live. Oh, I can't. Can you imagine? Do you play with anybody who would do that?
Yeah, now I was thinking back, there was definitely two different guys on my team that if the idea was presented to them or they had heard about this, they absolutely would have done it at the front of the bus. Really? I think every team has one guy that you could look at and go, he'd do that.
He'd do that, right?
Yeah.
Well, you got 70, 80 guys on the team. Who knows, varsity, JV, 10th grade, all that kind of stuff. There's one clip from Denzel Aberdeen. When you get it, give me a thumbs up on that. Whew. Did you get a chill? I got a chill. It was mainly, obviously, because Chip Boone bit off the head of a chipmunk while the chipmunk was alive. So that was part of it. But also in the moment, in the environment to do that. Yeah, the biggest part of the story, how did they catch the chipmunk? I have no idea. Have you ever tried to catch a chipmunk?
Yeah, it's impossible.
That's what I thought.
That is a great question that we really overlooked that we need a follow-up on.
Totally overlooked. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put it in my notes to ask him next time. And thank you, Chip Ruff, for saying that. You missed the biggest part of the story. And I paused on you because I'm going, why didn't I think of that? How do you catch a chipmunk? Do you have any idea? I have no clue.
I guess you just got to be very fast.
They are so fast, it's ridiculous.
Even if it was just a squirrel.
You can't catch a squirrel.
No. Some elite athleticism is what that was.
I'm writing this down. Catch a chipmunk. I have no clue. That's fascinating. Okay. Denzel Aberdeen isn't getting a lot of preseason hype. I don't think he probably cares. I think he's going to be invaluable with the team. I think most people who follow Kentucky basketball would say the same thing. His toughness, championship pedigree, leader. As much as always a leader always said, hey, we're going to rely upon him because guess what? He's got a ring. He's done it. And so I think that's really powerful. We have one clip from him from SEC Media Days. And the question is, how do you stay grounded?
Every year is a new year. And it's new. What's past is past. Obviously, winning national championship last year was great for me, but now I got a new goal in mind is to win another one again. And so it's just coming in each and every day, being focused, staying hungry, competing with my teammates, knowing that I have a new goal in my mind each and every year. I just set for myself. I wake up and ask God about it, and it's just each and every day I take it. So it's
interesting. His thought process about that. He's very grounded, very grounded. Whew. Two quick things before we go. Jamal Mashburn, and this was easy to predict, but I didn't do it, and former Auburn coach Bruce Pearl are going to be talking college basketball on TNT. I think that's terrific. I think they'll both be really good. And from the release, Since retiring from the NBA in 2004, Mashburn has invested in 38 Outback Steakhouse franchises, 40 Papa John franchises, and 3 Dunkin' Donut franchise. Also owns parts of several car dealerships, including Toyota, Lexus, Porsche dealerships here in town, and is involved in real estate and horse racing, and he's looking forward to getting back into college hoops. I bet he's really good. I bet Bruce Pearl is really good as well. Quick note, we got about a minute. I thought it's fascinating that Auburn is giving up a home game to have an NIL game where the players will get $4 million. Interesting. Can you imagine Bitch Barnhart, Jimmy, giving up a home game to help out the players and getting $4 million? It's John Cohen, the former baseball coach, who's the athletics director at Auburn. It's just incredible. It's a neutral site game that will be played, and there's so much money in a neutral site game. $4 million is going to NIL. I think that's fascinating. I can't imagine Kentucky giving up a home game. I just can't. And John Cohen says, anytime I can do this kind of thing, I'm going to do it to help our student athletes. I think it's really, really, really powerful. And Jimmy, you have a thing about games we'll have on 1300 AM and 92.5 FM today.
Yeah, Brewers, Dodgers, NLCS. Pregame starts at 5:30, and then following that, Blue Jays, Mariners, 8:30 tonight.
Sounds good. Jimmy, as always, thank you. We'll be back tomorrow. Ryan Howard, great Kentucky basketball player, great WNBA player, will be one of our guests tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Man, she's special. She's really, I mean, both ends of the court. It's unbelievable. Brad Taylor coming up next. I'm late. Thank you again to Mr. Chenault, Mr. Ramsey, Mr. Hiles. Another fun show. Thank you for listening. Thank you for telling our friends. Alan Cutler